Hello class and welcome to the next lesson in topic 10.06. Remember to leave some space for your LO and your title. Your title is Addition and Subtraction of Algebraic Expressions. You will see that in the LO after we've done the retrieval task, so don't worry too much about that. Pause the video now and spend 10 minutes practicing these building block skills that you're going to need and you will always need in most of your maths lessons. So here's the answers. So if you can use your green pens to mark the ones you've got correct, to correct the ones that you have not. So there we go. Add and subtract algebraic fractions. That is your title, and your LO is also there at the top of the screen. So again, we have our success criteria at the bottom, and we have our little simplified version of how we are going to solve these problems. So we know how to add fractions, and we know that when we add fractions, we need a common denominator. So if we look to add or subtract algebraic fractions, we need to find the lowest common multiple of the denominators. We need to find the lowest number that has both of these. What is the lowest common multiple, essentially? So we know it's going to be 15 here, don't we? We then need to express all the fractions in terms of the lowest common denominator. We then need to simplify the numerators to obtain the numerator of the answer. So here we are. So we want 15 on the bottom of this fraction. So if we want 15 on the bottom of this fraction, while remaining the fraction equivalent, so it stays the same, we need to times the top and the bottom by 5. So that's what we've done. So 5 times by all of this, and then 5 times by 3 gives us the 15. Over here, we need to times our 5 by 3. And we also, therefore, need to times the top by 3. So we've got 3 times by all this. So we times it out, so we end up with 5 times by 4 gives us 20. 5 times by 2x gives us 10x. 3 times by 3x gives us 9. 3 times by 1 gives us 3. So now we have everything over this one common denominator. So we just need to collect our like terms. So we've got 10x and 9x, it's 19. And 20 and 3 gives us 23. So there we go. There's no further simplifying to be done. So if you've got that down, can you now pause the video and spend 2 minutes trying to solve the we do? Okay, so there's the example. There's the answer for the we do. As we've seen here at the top, let me get my laser pointer. This is the same as just putting 17x plus 19 all over 12, like they've done here. You could imagine, because they've got the same denominator, it could just be one big long line and then just 12 on the bottom. Like this here could also be written as 1 over 15 brackets 19x plus 23. So now let's have a look. This one here, we now have a subtraction. So again, our lowest common denominator is going to be 15 on the bottom. So this fraction is going to be times top and bottom by 5. And this one on the right is going to be times top and bottom by 3. So once we times them out, we get our 9x plus 3 and 20 plus 10x. The same numbers again as the last problem, so you know how to do that. So now we collect our terms. So we've got positive 20 plus 10x. Yep, and then over here we're subtracting 9x plus 3. So if we apply that negative 1 multiplier to both, it gives us minus 9x and minus 3, as we've got here. So now let's collect our terms. We've got 10x minus 9x gives us just 1x, and 20 minus 3 gives us 17. So x plus 17 over 15. And I've also written it in this other format for you, so just so you can get familiar with it. If you can pause the video now and spend a minute trying to solve the we do. So there's the answer for the we do. Make sure you've got that down. Make sure you've marked it if you've got it correct. Another example now. So the lowest common multiple now will be 15. So this fraction on the left doesn't need to be times by anything, top and bottom. It's already there. This fraction on the right needs to be times top and bottom by 3. So we've done that here. 3 times by the top, 3 times by the bottom. So we end up with 4 plus 2x minus 9x plus 3. So that's going to be minus 9x minus 3. So let's collect our terms. So we have positive 2x subtract 9x. So that's going to give us negative 7x. And 4 subtract 3, it's going to leave us with 1. And it's all divided by 15. So if you've got that down, if you can pause the video and spend a minute trying to solve the we do. And there is your answer for the we do in 3 different forms. So in the first one, they've took out the negative symbol. Then down here, they've applied that negative. So if you look, the symbol for each number has changed. So now if you can spend 7 minutes, pause the video and model exactly how we've just done it previously. Use your book to model how you're going to answer these. Okay, now that your 7 minutes is up, let's have a look at the answers. If you can be marking these for me with your green pen, think about which ones you've got right, think about which ones you've got wrong. Can you spot a pattern as to why you've got them wrong? Think about targeting that. Here's the rest of the answers. I'd ignore this bit here. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at somewhere we're not just timesing the top and bottom by a constant. Now to get a lowest common shared denominator here, we're going to have to times by x values as well. So with regards to the coefficient, the constant, the lowest common multiple is going to be 20. So I'm going to need to times this top and bottom by 5. And on this side, I'm going to need to times top and bottom by 4. But also, I'm going to need my x's to be to the same power. So this is already x to the 6. So let's times this side, top and bottom, by x cubed. So if I times by x cubed, it's going to give me x to the power of 6. So I times by 5x cubed, top and bottom, and I times by 4, top and bottom here. So now we've got a shared denominator. Up here we'd end up with 30x cubed and 4x, as we've got here. So now what I can do is I can factorise. So I know that I can take out 2x from the top. So if I take out 2x from here, I'm going to end up with 15x squared. If I take out 2x from here, I'm going to end up with just 2. So I get 15x squared plus 2. I've took out 2x. I can also take out 2x on the bottom. And that leaves me with 10x to the 5. Because 2x times by 10x to the 5 is going to give me 20x to the 6. So that finally leaves us with our answer. The 2x's cancel and we get 15x squared plus 2 over 10x to the 5. Now if you can pause the video and spend 2 minutes trying to solve the we do. And there is the answer for your we do. These have got a little bit trickier now that we're involved in multiplying by powers of x. But still, the method is still the same. So let's have a look at the next problem. So again, we're going to want a 20x cubed on the bottom because the lowest common multiple of 5 and 4 is going to be 20. So we're going to need to times this side, top and bottom, by 5, as we can see we've done here. And we're going to need to times this side by 4x cubed. So if I times 4x cubed on the top, I'm going to get 4x to the power of 4. If I times by 4x cubed on the bottom, I'm going to get that desired 20x cubed. So now we've got this shared denominator. We just have 5 times 6, which is 30, plus 4x to the power of 4, which we've got here. Now again, I can divide every single term there by 2, I know that. So this here will become 10x cubed, this here will become 15, and this here would become 2x to the power of 4. So I've took out a factor from everything of 2. Because I've took out a factor of 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom, they will cancel. So you can pause the video now and spend 2 minutes trying to solve the we do. And there is your answer. So let's have a look at another example. Now again, if I have a look, so we have 1x in each denominator, so I don't need to times 3 by x, that's happy. Now we have 4x here and 16x, so if I times this side top and bottom by 4, I will get my 16x. So we do that, 4 times by 6 gives us 24, 4 times by x gives us 4x, and we have plus x here. 4 times by 4x here gives me 16x, and then we have the 16x here, so we have our shared denominator. We then collect our terms on the top, so we have 4x and x, which gives us 5x and 24. So there is our answer. You can pause the video now and spend 2 minutes trying to solve the we do. And there is your answer for the we do. So on the top we have 3x plus 4, and on the bottom we have on the top we have 3x plus 12, or 3 brackets x plus 4, all over 16x. Now let's have a look at another one here. Another 2 here before we move on to the independent task. So we can see on the bottom that we have 8 plus x and 8 plus 4. Now these are a little bit trickier because we don't just have the terms on their own, we have more than one term on the bottom. So times all this top and bottom by x plus 4, and times all this top and bottom by x plus 8. So we're timesing the opposite fraction by its denominator. So that way we get our shared denominator on the bottom, x plus 8, x plus 4. Then on the top we times out our x plus 4 in brackets times by x, and we get these two terms. And we've multiplied out this here, and we get these terms here. Now remember that we're subtracting here, so all of these two brackets here which we've multiplied out, keep them in their own bracket. So now if we have a look, we've got our x squared, and this negative symbol here is going to make everything in here change sign. So if we've got x squared here, then this here is going to become subtract x squared. So they will cancel. Then let's have a look. We have plus 4x and negative subtract ax. So that's going to leave us with negative 4x. And then we also have to subtract 6x. So we're going to end up with negative 10x. And then we've got subtract 48. So subtract 48. And there we go. So if you can pause the video now and give the we do a go. And there is the answer for your we do.